A very good afternoon to Honorable Principal Sir and all my participants. Let us start today's topic. Now see, I'm going to present today's topic, effective communication skills. So, let us see the agenda of communication skills. What are they? Look at this. These are understanding communication, communication barriers, paraverbal communication skills, non-verbal communication, star speaking, listening skills, questioning techniques, providing feedbacks, networking skills, non-violent communication introduction. So we'll discuss these topics one by one so that you will be easily understand these topics. First, I am going to ask some questions to you. You can answer in the chat box. What is communication? You can share some examples that you missed opportunities because of lack of communication. And the next question is, how do we communicate effectively? You can answer these questions in chat box. First of all, we'll understand communication. What is communication? How do we communicate? What are the factors of communication? And one-way versus two-way communication. Okay. So first understand what is communication. Why do we communicate and what is communication? Let us see, communication is the imparting or interchange of thoughts, opinions or informations by speech, writing or signs. What are the effectiveness of communication? It is the ability to solve problems, productivity, level of stress, relationships with others, ability to meet your goals and achieve your dreams, level of satisfaction with your life. Now we'll understand how do we communicate. Okay, so see, we communicate to persuade. Okay, it means that we want someone to do something and this desire of ours is communicated. Okay, suppose the mother patting the child to stop crying, the advertiser displaying a model in a new t-shirt and the politician urging his audience to vote for him are all having the same objective of persuading while communicating as differently. So how do we communicate? We communicate in three major ways. Okay, what are they? Let us see. We communicate by spoken, by speaking, that is verbal and paraverbal. Okay. Second is non-verbal and written. Okay. After that, we'll understand what are the barriers of communication. Okay. Look, what are the common barriers of communication? In this, we will see that how team members often tell that I can't explain the problem to the other person that they understand. I can't present the idea to my manager what I mean. They always tell I don't have enough time and tools to communicate effectively the solution. Sometimes the problem comes that I'm stressed. I can't listen to the speaker. The person I'm trying to communicate with doesn't want to listen to me. These are some common barriers. Some other common barriers are language barriers, in which people speak different language, not the first language for one or more people involved in the communication. They speak the same language but are from different regions. Sometimes there is culture barriers, that is they are from different cultures, different classes or different lifestyles. Sometimes there is differences in time and place. These barriers often occur when people are in different time zones or different places. Okay. Now, what are the barriers from senders? Let us see what are they, what are the barriers from senders. They don't know what the receiver expects. Using a large amount of words to convey messages, conveying many issues in a single message that make the receiver confused. Sometimes they going around and not straight to main point of a conversation. And what is the main point? They are going around and around. Sometimes wrong assumptions about the receiver's knowledge and skills to understand. Sometimes they use unfamiliar words such as using figurative meanings word that can be understood in different ways. Okay. Sometimes they talk when the receiver is distracted. He he or she doesn't want to listen anything. So these barriers come from sender sides. Okay. What are the barriers that receives from the receiver? Okay. These are, let us have a look on these. Not paying attention, depending on the receiver's thought, being suppressed by emotions, tending to listen to what one wants to see or hear, listening inactively, he's not interested in listening something, not observing one's body language, communicating in the uncomfortable manner. The next is tending to resist any message in contrast with self-belief or assumption. Sometimes jumping to conclusion, not asking questions to make clear when not understanding any point. Next we will see paraverbal communication. So we'll see what is paraverbal communication. First we'll understand this topic, what is paraverbal communication. This communication refers to the message that we transmit through the tone, the pitch and pacing our voices. Okay. It is how we say something, not what we say. That a professor, Mehrabian, states that the paraverbal messages account for approximately 38% of what is communicated to someone. In this communication, a sentence can convey entirely different meaning depending on the emphasis on words or the tone of the voice. Look here, the same sentence is given that I didn't say you were stupid. Okay. So these examples has been given that I didn't say you were stupid has 6 different meaning. Okay. It depends on which word is emphasized. Which word we are emphasizing, it depends on that. When we are angry or excited, our speech tends to become more rapid and higher pitched. Okay. When we are bored or feeling down, our speech tends to slow and take on a monotone quality. And when we are feeling defensive, our speech is often abrupt. So that is paraverbal communication that changes according to the pitch, to the situation. Okay. What is the power of pitch? Let us see. Power of pitch, people will pick up on the pitch of your voice and react to it. High pitch is often interpreted as anxious or upset. As always told to you that high pitch is not good, it's not interpreted. A low pitch sounds more serious and authoritative. Okay. So the vibration in the pitch of your voice is important to keep the other party interested so that he or she may take interest in listening you. I'm going to share some tips about the truth of tone. Trying lowering the pitch of your voice a bit. Smile. This will warm up anyone's voice. Sitting up straight and listen. Monitoring your inner monologue. And negative thinking will seep into the tone of your voice. What should be the strength of speed? Speed can affect what your listeners' levels, interest, the comprehensibility of your message, your tone and pitch. So I'm going to share some tips also. Trying to speak slowly as I told you earlier. So try to speak slowly and clearly. Smile, again I am saying smile, this will help you to keep calm. Monitoring your speaking speed, and just be aware of nervousness, it will impact you to strength of a speed. So keep calm and speak slowly. The next part is non-verbal communication. What it is, first we'll understand what is non-verbal communication. It is the transmission of messages or signals through a non-verbal platform, such as in this we can use body languages, express messages by body languages, or use body languages such as eye contact, facial expression, gesture, posture, and body language. It includes the use of social cues, distance, and physical environment. Look how we can express messages by body languages, by our eyes, face, body, postures, by gesture, touch, space, sometimes by our clothing, hair, cosmetics, accessories, and jewelries. Look, we'll discuss the body languages by standing or sitting. Sitting hunched over typically, it shows your discomfort and stress. When you are leaning back, standing or sitting, it shows that you are casual and relaxed demeanor. If standing ramrod straight typically, it shows your stiffness and anxiety. Body languages by using hands, arms, feet, legs. Fidgeting, it shows your boredom and nervousness. Crossed arm and legs, often it shows your closed mind. Okay. Some body languages and facial expressions are smiles, frowning, raised eyebrows. It shows inquisitiveness, curiosity, and disbelief. When you chew your lips, it shows that you are thinking, if or you are bored, and you are feeling anxiety or nervousness. Okay. The next part that we'll see is star speaking. Okay. That is star speaking, that we'll see what is star speaking. It is structured manner of responding to a behavioral based interview questions by discussing the specific situation, task, action, and result of situation you are describing. So this is star speaking. Let us discuss this. Situation, task, action, and result. In situation, you state what the situation is, where, who, when, and task, stating what your task was, what, why. Action, stating what you did to resolve the problem and how. Result will be the stating what the result was, using a combination of the 6 roots: who, what, when, where, why, and how. You can use these things. Next part is listening skill. So we'll discuss what are listening skills. We'll see listening skills allow one to make sense of and understand what another person is saying in other words. Listening skills allow people to understand what someone is talking about, the meaning behind the words. The ability to listen carefully allows workers to better understand assignment they are given. So let us see what are the gripes about managers in listening skills. What are the gripes? Let us see. My manager does all the talking. I go in with a problem and never have a chance to open my mouth. He interrupts me when I talk. She never looks at me when I talk. She takes care of her laptop. I am not sure she is listening. Sometimes the gripes come that his facial expression makes me feel I am wasting his time. My manager sits too close to me, that is also a problem. And his phone call interrupts my presentation. I don't want that type of activities. Sometimes the grabs come that my manager is too easily distracted from listening to me and my problem. So this is also a problem. Now we'll discuss the categories of listeners. The categories of listeners are the non-listeners, the marginal listeners, evaluative listener, and the active listeners. Now we'll discuss barriers to effective listening. Okay, so what are the barriers to effective listening? These are motivation and attitude, lack of concentration and attention, negative attitude towards listening, experience and background, poor listening setting, emotions, daydreaming and fantasizing, delivery, lack of listening skills. Oh, by nature, the act of hearing, perceiving, and retaining spoke information that we call listening is an ineffective process. So, these are some barriers of effective listening. Now, next we'll see what is active listening. Active listening is understanding active listening. First, we'll understand what is active listening. Active listening is trying to identify where the other person is coming from, listening to what is being said closely and attentively, responding appropriately either non-verbally with a question or by paraphrasing. Next part is sending good signals to other. Show your body language by saying that you are saying oh, wow, okay, asking open questions and summary questions, so that this will called the active listening, that you are listening properly. That's why you are replying or you are reacting on that. I am providing some active listening tips to you. Okay, remember that it is possible to listen and talk at the same time. Listen for the speaker's main idea, what he or she is saying. Be sensitive to your emotional deaf spots. Fight off distractions. Try not to get angry. Do not trust to memory certain data that may be important. Let your employees tell their own stories first. Emphasize you with your employees. Withhold judgment. React to the message, not to the person. Okay. So these are some active listening tips. Okay, next is again I am sharing some more active listening tips. Next tip is try to appreciate the emotion behind the speaker's word, such as vocal and visual messages more than the literal meaning of the word. Use feedback, listen selectively, be relaxed. Try not to be critical either mentally or verbally of someone else's point of view, even if it is different from your own. Listen attentively to the degree that it is in your power. Try to create a positive listening environment. Ask questions. Be motivated to listen. Next, we'll discuss active listening and interactive management. What is it? What is active listening? Okay, so have a look. Listening is not take a secondary position to speaking, but as important as other communication skills. When no listens, it is pointless to speak. Members feel relieved when they find managers who understand what they have to say about their problems. Truly understand your members by actively listening to them. They will most likely reciprocate by listening to you and trying to understand your point of view. If you're really willing to learn how to listen, it will take a lot of hard work to learn the skills and constant practice to keep them in shape. Next part that we'll discuss is questioning techniques. Okay, so what are questioning techniques, and what will plan for better questioning techniques? So first, what we'll do, will identify your intention or purpose for asking questions and link the question to it. Determine the level of questions that you want to ask. Select the content and choose the material that you consider important. Identify your intention or purpose for asking questions. Okay. Next, make sure you have your arsenal of the key as well as subsidiary questions at hand. Choose the questioning technique also that will fit the situation. Phrase the questions in manner that makes it clear to the respondent. Decide on the timing and order of questioning. Okay. So open questions, in this part we'll discuss open questions, what are open questions, closed questions, probing questions and funnel techniques. Okay. Well, open questions, as we all know, by who, what, how, where, when, why. Closed questions are no, yes. Next we'll see probing questions. So first we'll discuss what are probing questions. Probing questions are designed to encourage deep thought about a specific topic. They are typically open-ended questions, meaning the answers are primarily subjective. Probing questions are intended to promote critical thinking as well as to get the person asked to explore their personal thoughts and feelings about a personal subject. Okay. So in this there will be clarification, completeness and correctness, determining relevance, drilling down and summarizing. Next is funnel technique. First we'll know what is funnel technique. This technique is used, it involves starting with general questions, okay, and then drilling down to a more specific point to it. As you can see, I am presenting my screen. You can see here that what is funnel technique, and it start with different with general some general questions. Okay, usually this will involve asking for more and more details at each level. It's often used by detectives taking a statement from a witness. How many people were involved in the fight? Tell me how you went about. How did you prepare? Was your starting point? So these type of questions are asked in this technique. Okay. Next part is providing feedback. How do we provide feedback? So let us see. Using feedback effectively. Types of feedback, that is verbal or written feedback, fact feedback, feeling feedback. Next is using feedback effectively, giving and getting definitions. Don't assume, asking questions, speaking the same language, keeping tuned it, withholding feedback. Next, see the feedback about place and time that we'll discuss here. Okay. Let us see, we'll discuss about the place, somewhere quiet like an office or meeting room. About time, that feedback needs to come as soon as possible after the event. If a person has done something that violates a given rule, you may have to act immediately. Making sure you can control your own emotions so you will avoid saying something that you might later regret. Try to apply non-violent communication. Next is feedback approaches. What are feedback approaches? These are informal feedback, recognizing something that has been learned and properly applied to the workplace, or offering a small reward for overall performance. Next is formal feedback, being often used with certain benchmark and at certain times of the year. Next is 360-degree performance. What is this? A tool solicits feedback from people within a 360-degree radius of the team member. Next we'll discuss the feedback sandwich. What is the feedback sandwich? Let us see. Make a specific positive comment. Offer critique or suggestions for improvement. make an overall positive comment. So praise, okay, use uh, less criticism, try to praise more. Look, in next part we'll see networking skill. Okay, in this part we'll see making a first impression, effective introduction, 3C projecting, making a handshake, using business cards, organizing your contact list, 4 stage effective short conversation, and minimizing nervousness. So have a look at this. How can we make a first impression? First, well prepared by your dress code, uh, and keep your name card with you. Route to the meeting location, you should know, you should aware about that. The discussion topic and the people will meet. Next part will be the effective introduction, introduce yourself effectively. The 3C projecting is confidence, competence, and credibility. Okay, when you are networking, it is important to make the best of the first meeting. So you have to prepare for that, to make your first impression the best impression. Look, what should be the effective introduction, how should we introduce ourselves effectively. Projecting warmth and confidence, mind your body language, warm handshake, stating your full name, position, and company. Suppose if you are saying your name, just start like this: good morning, I'm John Live, sales executive of training store company, giving your name card. And if you are repeating the name of the other person when greeting, it shows, if you are saying that it's nice to meet you, Mr. John Live, so repeating their name is an acknowledgement that you heard their introduction, you have heard his introduction very well, so you are repeating your name. So use this type of words. Next part is projecting confidence. Okay, so be straight in a relaxed posture, holding your head high and steady. Don't slouch or slump. Don't move in a natural, unaffected manner. Move in an unaffected manner and in a natural manner. Okay. Maintain eye contact with the people you are talking to. Next part is projecting competence. In this part, exhibiting your knowledge, we'll discuss how we'll exhibit your knowledge. Knowing the agenda and the meeting topics. You should know the agenda, the topics. You should be prepared for the meeting. You should be preparing supportive materials to emphasize your points. Answering questions clearly and asking relevant questions. Try to answer questions clearly and ask some relevant questions, and avoid the use of slang or technical jargon that shows your discomfortability. Okay. Next part is projecting credibility. Being on time, it is must important. So being on time and being presentable, it means that be in dress codes or in a well dress code, keeping true to your word what you are saying, and to your body language also. Now we'll discuss making a handshake. Now, how should we, if we are meeting someone, beginning with a greeting, we should begin with a greeting and self-introduction. And if you are handshaking, first pump your hand and only for 2 to 3 times. Shake from your elbow. Do not use a forceful grip. Be easily try to shake your elbow. Avoid offering a fish hand or lady fingers. Okay, and one hand is better than two if you are handshaking. And when you are ending a handshake, should end before the oral introduction exchange does. After that, you can end the handshake. Okay. For covering your mistake, what should be done? If you are worried that your handshake did not convey the right message, about yourself. Simply change the focus of the moment by offering a quick compliment or asking the other person a question. Okay, I am sharing some tips about when do we use our business card. Always keep your business card within you. Being active about the timing, the presentation of your card. Uh, when should we hand the business card? At the beginning of the meeting or at the networking time, and when you are asked, and sometimes we are asked, you are asked to repeat your name, so you can hand a card. Someone asked to send you something, and you can use this card at the end of the meeting, and explaining what you can offer them. Sometimes you can show the other person that you value their card, so that you have kept it. Next is uh, organizing your contact list. How can you organize your contact list? You can use tools such as name card, folder, Outlook, Google, etc. Reviewing your new contact after each networking time. Updating your contact list, making detailed notes for interesting contacts, dropping a connecting thank you email to connected person, reviewing your contact list periodically. Okay, next is look, in next part we'll discuss stage effective short conversation. What is it? Have a look at this. Look, it is small talk exchange of pleasantries stage. You are talking about the generic, you can talk about generic topics, subjects that almost everyone is comfortable discussing. Okay, and establishing reports. Next part is fact disclosure, getting to know stage. In this part, you can tell the other person some facts about you. What are your hobbies, your interests, your job, what is your job, etc. and etc. Okay. You can also aim to see if you have something in common with the other person. What are the common between him or her and you. You can share this to them also. Uh, Now come to the next point. The next point is viewpoints and opinions. That is buffering effect stage. In this point, in a effective short conversation, you can offer what you think about various topics. Like people always, generally they talk about politics, education, and the new business model. So you can use this method also, and yeah, you can offer what you think about these topics, about political topics, educational, or the new business techniques. This type of topic you can use in an effective short conversation. Okay. You can also use personal feelings, that is disclosure and acknowledgement of personal feeling, uh, requiring trust, rapport, and even a genuine friendship because of the intimate nature of the subject. So you can use this stage that I have been sharing. I am sharing with you in an effective short conversation. Okay. Now look at the next part, minimizing nervousness. That is most important, I think, because when we start conversation, we communicate with someone. So nervousness is the main point that comes at first when we communicate with someone. Okay, so how do we minimize nervousness or nervousness? I'm sharing some tips to you. So be informed. Okay, whatever the topic you are going to represent, you are going to present. So be informed about that. Read and read. Next is practice. You should do practice about the topic. Okay, Learning relaxation techniques. There are many activities that can help or relax a nervous person. These activities include, what are they? Look at this. These are meditation. You can do meditation to minimize your nervousness. Self-talking is also a method. Visualization. Sometimes breathing exercises will help you to minimize your nervousness, and sometimes listening music is more comfortable to minimize our nervousness. So use these techniques. If you are getting nervous, you are feeling nervous, so minimize your nervousness first. After that you can comfortably communicate with each other. Okay, identify your triggers. What are they? Believing in what you have to offer. Look, next part is non-violent communication. What is look, this is a book written by Marshall Rauschenberg, in which we can see what are non-violent communication process. There are some steps has been given in this book to express anger, or translating have to choose to. Okay. So let us discuss non-violent communication process. What are they? Look, I'm saying some steps, 4 steps. Actions we observe that affect our well-being. How we feel in relation to what we observe. The needs, values, and desires that create our feelings, and actions we request in order to enrich our lives. So these are the 4 steps that are used in non-violent communication process. It is about the actions that in those actions we observe that the affect our well-being. Okay, and about our feeling in a relation, what we are observing, what are the needs, values, and desires that creates our feeling. Okay, it also shows the actions we request in order to enrich our lives. Okay, look, look. In next step, we'll see some steps to express anger. Okay. Let us see the steps to express anger. 4 options I am sharing with you when hearing a difficult message. What we do then, how steps, how do we express anger? We start blaming ourselves. Sometimes we blame others, sense our own feeling and needs, and sense others' feelings and need. So these are 4 options when we are hearing some difficult messages. So we start thinking about that. Sometimes we are starting blaming ourselves. Sometimes we start blaming others. Okay, and sometimes we sense our own feelings and needs, but sometimes about other feelings and needs. And these steps to express anger are: first, you should not be angry, and how to control that, how to control the anger, and how to express the anger. I'm sharing 4 tips with you. That first, stop and breathe. Okay, after that, identify your judgmental thoughts, connect with our needs, and express our feeling and unmet needs. So these are some steps that you can use to express your anger. Don't be panic, don't be angry suddenly. Try to follow these steps, try to follow these rules. Okay, next is, next that look, in this book we have seen about these steps. Next we'll discuss about will uh, translating have to choose to manner. Okay, look, list all those things activities in step 1. What you will do, list all those things activities that you tell yourself if you have to do, and you dread but do anyway because you perceive yourself. Okay, so in first step you have to do this, you have to follow these things. Okay, in step 2, insert the word I choose to in front of each item you listed. Okay, and in next step we'll see the intention behind your choice by completing the statement I choose to because I want. So uh, translate these have to choose to. So we have discussed a lot of things about communication skills, about communication strategies. So I am again repeating. So most people think about speech when they think about communication, but there are many other ways we can also use the to communicate with each other. I have discussed with you all the postures, gestures, all the expressions that we can use in communication, a better communication skill. Uh, I have already told you that we communicate in order to provide information about something. We communicate seeking information. Suppose a passerby asking you to post office, the student asking the teacher for some clarification, or the investigating policeman making discreet inquiries, are all seeking information by using these communication skills. Sometimes we communicate to express our emotions, like courage or fear, joy or sorrow, satisfaction or disappointment, with appropriate gestures and words. So our uh, politicians are capable of emoting well, which itself is by communication skill. So this is that I have discussed with you, that is communication skill. Okay, so thank you so much for hearing me. Just fill the assessment form that I am sharing with you. Okay, thank you. Please fill the assessment feedback link that I am sharing with you. If you have any queries, you can ask me questions in chat box. One comment has come about that what are para-verbal messages. So once again I am repeating what are para-verbal messages. This communication refers to the message that we transmit through the tone, pitch and pacing of our voices, and it is how we say something, not what we say. And in this communication skill, a sentence can convey indirectly different meaning depending on the emphasis of on words and the tone of voice. For example, the statement that I give an example that I didn't say you were stupid. It has 6 different meanings depending on which word is emphasized. So in this message, when some points are to be keep remember, when we are angry or excited, or our speech tends to become more rapid and higher pitched, and when we are bored or feeling down, our speech tends to slow and take on a monotone quality. And if we are we are feeling defensive, our speech is often abrupt. I think that is clear to you. Okay, welcome, sir. Anything else you can ask? One question has also come about non-violent communication process. In that process, I have discussed with you some steps of non-violent communication, that actions we observe that affect our well-being, how we feel in relation to what we observe. the needs, value, and desires that create our feelings, and the actions we request in order to enrich our lives. I have also shared with you to some steps to express anger. Uh, First, the four options that when we hear about a difficult message, we start blaming ourselves, or sometimes we blame others. I have already discussed with you all. Sometimes we sense our own feelings and needs. We sense other feelings and needs. So, how do we express our anger in that case? We should stop and breathe in. I should identify our judgmental thoughts, connect with our needs, and express our feeling and unmet needs. So these are some steps to express anger. Look, at last, I've discussed three steps. That in step one, list all those things, activities that you tell yourself if you have to do, you dread but do anyway because of your perceive yourself to have no choice. In second step, you should insert the words I choose to in front of each item you listed. And in next step, intention behind your choice by completing the statement I choose to because I want. So these are the things that I had shared with you. Still you have any queries, you can ask me, and please fill the assessment link.
Thank you, madam, for such a wonderful session. I hope we will have some more session like this in future. Thank you. Thank you to all the participants. Please fill the attendance cum assessment form. Once again, I would like to thank all the participants. Once you have completed your assessment form as well as attendance form, you may leave the session. Thank you. Have a wonderful time.